All right, let's jump straight into this explainer and tackle an incredibly weird, apocalyptic scenario. We are looking at exactly what would happen if the moon crashed into Earth. I know, it sounds like pure science fiction, but the actual physics behind it reveal a fascinating and honestly deeply terrifying chain of events. Let's break it down. You know, before we totally destroy the planet in this scenario, we kind of have to ask, why isn't the moon already crashing down on us? I mean, gravity is always pulling it towards Earth's center, right? But the moon just stays up there, seemingly suspended by some invisible opposite force. Well, the secret is, there is no opposite force. The trick here is that the moon is literally just falling sideways around the Earth very fast with no air to slow it down. Think about it like this. If you throw a baseball, it travels a little bit before hitting the dirt. But if you were to throw it impossibly fast, it would just keep curving right along with the Earth. The moon is constantly falling. It's just moving so fast that it always misses the ground.
And it is moving fast, completing an orbit every 27 days at about 3,600 kilometers per hour. So to actually change its orbit and make it crash, we need some serious, rule-breaking magic to slow it down. Even igniting billions of rockets on the lunar surface wouldn't really budge it. So for the sake of our explainer today, let's just pretend we cast a magic spell to slow it down, starting a terrifying 12-month doomsday countdown.
Month 1. The clock starts, and honestly, the nightmare begins almost immediately with a literal water apocalypse. As the moon covers half the distance to Earth by the end of that first month, its increasing gravitational pull aggressively yanks on our oceans. Tides surge up to 4 meters, flooding coastal cities every single day with brutal waves of salty water.
Fast forward to month 2, and society as we know it completely crumbles. We're talking 10-meter tides now. Ports become totally useless, which halts pretty much all global food shipments. And get this, 95% of our internet relies on ocean cables, and their land terminals get completely swamped. Rivers are literally flowing backwards from the tidal bores, pushing saltwater inland. Scavenging during low tide just becomes the new normal for a billion displaced people.
But that was just the warm-up act. By months 4 and 5, we are looking at unimaginable, 100-meter high tides. To put that into perspective, at low tide, the oceans would recede for hundreds of kilometers, turning our continental shelves into vast deserts. But then, just hours later, these monumental walls of water come rushing back to absolutely obliterate agriculture, skyscrapers, and anything else left standing.
Now here's where it gets even crazier. Our oceans are only about 3 kilometers deep, so eventually the water just maxes out, and then the Earth itself starts feeling the squeeze. We're talking tides of rock. With quintillions of tons of water sloshing back and forth, combined with the moon's intense gravity, tectonic plates get completely disrupted. It's like a kid jumping on a bed until the frame snaps, triggering catastrophic, climate-altering earthquakes and volcanic eruptions all over the globe.
By the time we hit months 6 and 7, the moon is so close it actually enters the realm of geosynchronous satellites. This means it orbits the Earth exactly once every 24 hours. Because it's matching our planet's rotation perfectly, it looks like it's permanently frozen in one spot in the sky. This locks those devastating tides in place, leaving half the world constantly flooded and the other half bone dry. It's eerily quiet, almost as if the Earth is holding its breath for what's next. Now, you might be wondering, with this giant moon hovering right above you, taking up half the sky, would its gravity eventually overpower Earth's and just pluck you right up into the air? Actually, no, you wouldn't float away. Earth's surface gravity is about 6 times stronger, so it entirely dominates. You'd stay firmly planted on the ground to witness the horror show.
But while you stay grounded, the solid rock of the moon physically stretches toward us. Because Earth's pull is so much stronger on the side of the moon facing us, it triggers these deep, massive moonquakes. The entire moon literally deforms into a giant egg shape as it falls, just groaning under the incredible stress of Earth's gravitational pull. Moving on to month 8, things speed up. The moon starts orbiting even faster than the Earth rotates, breaking that eerie geosynchronous lock we talked about earlier. And the result? Those previously frozen oceans violently reverse direction and sweep right back across the continents. And all this physical destruction leads to an absolute climate nightmare. The volcanic eruptions from earlier have pumped so much aerosol into the stratosphere that the sun is practically blocked out. Anyone who somehow survived the floods and quakes is now facing rapid global cooling.
the sky turns this creepy rust-red color, interrupted by terrifying daily solar eclipses, toxic acid rain, and literal summer snows that wipe out the hardiest remaining plants. It's just a brutally bad time for anyone left.
Okay, we've reached month 12, the grand finale. We've finally hit the ultimate physical threshold, where Earth's gravity simply overwhelms our celestial neighbor. This is known as the Roche limit. Basically, the forces trying to hold our egg-shaped moon together as a solid object just cannot compete with the shredding power of Earth's gravity at this insanely close distance.
So what actually happens? Well, right at the 10,000 kilometer mark, the whole scenario takes a hard left turn. The moon doesn't actually smash into the ground like a giant asteroid. Instead, the sheer gravitational stress literally tears it completely to shreds in orbit. The entire moon disintegrates into rubble.
And with the moon suddenly gone, those apocalyptic tidal forces instantly vanish. The oceans retreat from the land one final time. The earthquakes halt, and any survivors looking up are treated to the most breathtaking sight. Tremendous glimmering arches spanning the entire sky. The remnants of the moon smear out into a spectacular ring system that lights up the night sky way more brilliantly than the full moon ever did, complete with meteor showers of falling moon dust.
But here is the final brutal irony. The doomsday crashing mechanics may be over, sure, but this new tranquility, it might be incredibly short-lived. Depending on what happens to all that debris, Earth is either going to boil or freeze solid. If tons of moon dust rains down, the friction in the atmosphere could generate enough heat to literally boil away the remaining oceans. On the flip side, if the dust mostly stays in orbit, the massive shadows cast by those gorgeous new rings could block out the sun entirely and trigger runaway freezing.
So, if anyone actually managed to emerge from a deep bunker or a submarine, survival is definitely not guaranteed. It leaves us with a really haunting question. What would a human civilization starting over even look like beneath such a deadly, gorgeous sky? Would we somehow adapt to this incredibly harsh new climate, or would those shimmering arches just end up being the final, beautiful tombstone of our planet? It's a terrifying, yet kind of stunning thought to leave you with today as we wrap up this explainer. Keep looking up, stay curious, and maybe, just maybe, let's appreciate the moon exactly where it is right now.